But Johnny, let's move on into our next topic. And this was one, I'll be completely honest. We talked about it last week. Didn't think we'd need an update to this anytime soon. But we got an update on. But we've got an update on loot boxes. If you want to hear part 1 of our discussion, right above Johnny's head.
I'm not a fan of this.
And really last week we talked really about Battlefront 2.
Yes.
Their whole loot box thing. And really how do we fix the whole loot boxes in general. Well, apparently the Belgium Gaming Commission has ruled that loot boxes are gambling. The country's Minister of Justice, not even going to try butchering his name, but their Minister of Justice has said that he wants to see them banned Europe-wide. And this is coming from reports from PC Gamer. Johnny, I want to ask you, should loot boxes be banned in video games? That's basically where we're going to go, because Minister of Justice in Belgium wants to see them banned European-wide. Should we get rid of loot boxes in games?
Well, I mean, if we're going to do that, how do you earn stuff?
Through challenges?
Through challenges. Okay. So you have to like do all these challenges, and like that's the part for the game, the people making the games now. They have to make up all these different challenges for you to earn stuff. I get it in Overwatch. There are certain challenges you have to do to earn certain things. But part of that is like, I'm trying to think of my wording for that. That's a lot of challenges to make for all the things. I'm going to use Overwatch as the biggest example because that's the one we get a lot of stuff in loot boxes.
They were pretty, in this modern era, they're the ones to, so they're not the first, but in this modern era,
they kind of solidified the loot box ideal.
For right now they have.
Yeah. Which is why I'm going to use that as an example. With all the things you can earn loot boxes, there's probably over, between 60 to 80 things per character?
Yeah. Like, there's a trophy that you get just for getting 50 items for one character.
Exactly. So, I mean, that is a lot of stuff for you to make challenges for.
Yeah.
And I get it. Like, okay, you make one specific challenge and put it per character. Yeah, but that's still a lot of different challenges. That's 80-something challenges per character.
And I'll be honest, I threw
60 to 80
I threw that out just as like yeah, you could do this. Is it plausible? In some cases, no. But also think about this. Even if it is plausible for your game, do you really want to make nonsense challenges for people to where it's like, great, some people are going to get this, some people won't. Might be too hard for some, might be too easy for others. And really on some of like the lower items, like, really, you're making me do this just to get it?
Sprays.
You're making me do it?
Most sprays only cost 25 coin in the game. Yeah. Why would I have to have a challenge just to get a spray?
Well, and the big thing, the only reason I feel like we're having this discussion is because when it comes to loot boxes, the big thing is like Overwatch, let's be honest, put them in there because maybe they wanted to give us skins. But let's be completely honest. Games put this in because they're like, hey, if we put it in, we could make some extra money.
Yeah.
It's a way to make extra money past that $60 I give you. In a game like Overwatch, we'll use that as the example since that's what you were using. The way that Blizzard is doing it, hey, I buy the game, then you never have to pay for anything.
Exactly.
So loot boxes is a way for them to get some extra income more so than just that $60. Because now at this point, the game's been out for a year and a half now. I think it'll be 2 years in May and March or May. And really, it's like, how do we keep funding this thing?
Yeah.
Really, I don't think it's just through loot boxes, but loot boxes gives you an extra set of income when it comes to your game. However, the thing that is kind of muddied is it gambling? That's another thing, because like Belgium, they have ruled it as gambling. However, if you read down the article, and I'll put it in the description down below that we're looking at, this past October, the ESRB, which is the rating board in the United States, the Entertainment Software Rating Board, they rejected the call to have them as gambling. And their whole thing that they told Kotaku was that is not their call to have it listed as gambling. That is another like board's call to say it's gambling. However, if you're going to say it's gambling, then it depends on, is it real gambling or if it's simulated gambling? And if it's the former, that automatically makes the game an adult-only game.
Yeah.
So if it's listed as real gambling, here's the problem that causes for video games. Your game is then listed as adult-only because it has loot boxes, and then many retailers don't carry or refuse to sell adult-only games. Could you imagine if Overwatch was an adult-only game?
It
would kill Overwatch. Overwatch would have never got off the board. I mean, Blizzard's a big enough name to where some people would try it, but I don't think it'd be as big as it is if it was listed as an adult-only game.
Yeah, and to be honest, and I don't know their parameters for considering it gambling. It's very loose form of gambling because no matter what, you don't have to put money in it to win something.
Yeah.
Other than the $60 to buy the game itself, you can't. The difference to me is between gambling and Overwatch getting loot boxes is you can put money in and get more loot boxes and get a randomized idea of what you might get, or you can just earn them and get a randomized thing of what you might get. But then with gambling, to me, no matter what, you're putting money into it to get something. So I mean, you don't for my example, for me for Overwatch, I've only put the $60 in to get the game.
Yeah,
I've not put in a single dime to get loot boxes.
I'll be honest, I do 150 loot box bundle only for a new event. But that's only because I want the skins from that new event.
Yeah.
So I will spend the money because I have a paycheck.
Exactly.
I'll go and spend that one off it just for the event, and then I'm good.
Yeah, I don't make enough of a paycheck to do that. So I mean, that's why it's like, you know what? I'm just gonna earn all of my loot boxes. So I've earned about 82 of them so far.
And you can be on either side of this table.
Exactly.
You can be on either side of the table with it.
But either way, would you really, and you're the one that puts money into it, would you really consider it gambling? Because you don't have to put the money into it.
I mean, no. In my mind, I don't go, like, if I were to say, I'm trying to think how I want to process this analogy.
Okay.
It's not like I'm going to the casino and putting money into a slot and that brings me to the next point I was going to bring up from the article.
Yeah.
Is when you look at the Pan-European Gambling Information's rating, or PEGI, they took a weaker stance than the rating board on is this gambling or not, because they basically said that the national gaming that it's not constituted as gambling or not. That's for someone else. But really, is it gambling because you're not losing? Like
it's true. You're getting something no matter what.
You're getting something no matter what. And that's the reason why they haven't really said if it's gambling or not, because like in the US, they're like, hey, you know what? You're getting something. If it was gambling, like I'm going to use that slots analogy. I go to the slots, I pull the lever.
You're not guaranteed to get something.
There's a chance I've just lost my money.
Exactly.
And I'm not getting anything back. Whereas really when you look at a loot box, and you could, like if someone said it is gambling, I would go, okay, I'll give it to you. Maybe it's a form of gambling.
Yeah.
However, it's more of like a grab bag, if anything. It's a mystery. A loot box is a mystery bag. Basically, when you go, like, for example, I went to a Cub game.
Yeah.
And they had baseballs signed by players. And, of course, with this, they were all the money, $20 a ball. All the money was going towards the victims of the tornado in Oklahoma at the time. That part aside, because money going to a good cause, people automatically see it as different. But when you look at the base value of that, I was giving them $20, picking a baseball. Did I know whose signature was on it?
No.
No. And let's be honest, I bought 5 of them. Me and my ex-girlfriend at the time bought 5 of them. 2 of them we got Anthony Rizzo. 2 of them we got what's his name? Ryan Sweeney, I think, at the time.
Okay.
And then Ernie Banks, which screw her. She stole my Ernie Banks baseball. I'm still not letting that go. But look at that. 2 Anthony Rizzos and 2 Sweeneys. So I got doubled up twice.
Yeah.
Was I mad? No, I got a signed baseball by Anthony Rizzo. I don't care if I got 2 of them. And I mean, in games, that's different. If I get 2 of the same skin, I'm thinking, fuck, I got a duplicate.
But at least like with Overwatch, for example, they give you the coin to compensate.
But I just don't see it as actual gambling because you are getting something from it. I see it as the mystery grab bag. The interesting point to this argument that I don't know if I agree completely, but it's interesting, is Democratic representative from Hawaii, Chris Lee.
Yeah. He
is taking the stance that he is calling loot boxes, and I quote, predatory behavior from video game production or publishers. And the thing that I know that I'm going to let you speak on a little bit, your thoughts, but I know you, before we said this, was like, that is just a load of horse shit. How is it predatory? The thing I can see with this, and the only reason you can use the word predatory, you and I coming at this at a different scope than we would have 10 years ago.
That's very true.
10 years ago, we were 17, in basically minors in high school, and even younger than that, when we were 12, 13, 14. Microtransactions. Once the internet became a thing in games, microtransactions followed shortly after, because games were like, "Oh shit, they can link credit cards to this, and we can make more money off of it."
Yeah,
that's the only way I could see it being predatory, is if you're going for the scope of this is unregulated, and a kid can link his parents' credit card to this, and just boom, it's getting them into this habit of gambling early on. That's why I use air quotes, because really, I don't see it giving them it doesn't get them in the habit of gambling. It could get them into the habit of frivolously spending money because it's really not their money.
Yeah, that's the thing. And then, you know what? To me, that comes on to the parents at that point.
Exactly.
Because it's like,
every situation's different, but I usually side with that too.
Because you know what? I mean, watch your kids, watch their gameplay. My parents, honestly, at one point in my life, they actually said, okay, you only play games for this long a day. I'm like, I have to go along with it.
God, I am so glad I didn't have that.
Yeah, well, I'll
be completely honest, Johnny. I am so glad. My parents were always on the other side of, you know what, just get your shit done, and then I don't care how long you play. Get your homework done, get your shit done, and then you can play.
They just didn't want me sitting in front of that screen for that long. They made me go outside, which is kind of weird. When I broke my leg, that rule still implied for the beginning of it, and then I kind of convinced him, like, I've got nothing else to do.
Yeah,
let me play these video games. That's when the rule broke. But it's like before that, it was always okay, you can play for this long of a day, or if it's like raining, they let it slide. But it's like most of the time, it's like, okay, go outside.
They wanted you to like go outside, maybe read a book. Reading a book is cool.
Book?
Reading a book is cool.
What's a book? No, they wanted me to play outside. But anyways, back to the topic at hand.
Yeah.
No, it's up to the parents. You're supposed to monitor what your kids, and you're supposed to monitor your bank account.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm going to be completely transparent here.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, this was in high school. There was, in the NHL game, you could buy the packs for cards in their Ultimate Team. And I remember asking my mom first, hey, can I use your credit card to buy X amount of packs for like X amount of dollars? She's like, fine, just this once. So had the credit card linked to the account, bought it, but then like maybe a month goes by and I'm sitting there and I'm sitting playing. I'm like, oh, one pack. I want to try to get some extra cards. And like, I'm like, man, I wish I had enough in-game currency to do it. But then I thought, my mom's credit card is still linked. I'm like, oh, it's only $1 for one pack. And I'll be completely honest, at that point in my life, I was like, are my parents really going to notice $1? Probably not. Click that button. Mom never knew. Never knew. However, not all kids are like me.
No.
Some kids might be like, hey, maybe I can get away with just spending hundreds of dollars. That's where mom and dad look at the credit card statement. They're maxed out on credit cards, and they go, why are we maxed out? What the fuck did you do? That's the only part I could say where, okay, I'll give you the predatory comment, because we got to understand, it's not just us as adults playing. Like, we are vastly, our generation is changing things, because when we were kids, like, my dad played video games when he was younger, but it was like, oh, I played the Atari, I played some NES. But really, my dad wasn't like the word gamer was not used back then. Whereas now it really started when we were kids, where people actually identified as I am a gamer. And now we are growing up to adults. But what's the younger generation do? They're following our footsteps.
Yeah.
And of course, they're changing things also, adapting to what we have done. But we're getting to a point where the gamers are now starting to be old enough to, maybe we're thinking about kids, maybe we're having kids. So, I mean, everything changes. And I feel like if you grew up with gaming, you're going to be more aware of these loot boxes so that you don't let your kid get into frivolous spending, even though that I use very lightly just to kind of go along with your point, Mr. Chris Lee. However, the way I see this, and I mentioned this to you before we recorded, and I'll bring it up now. This is the we have gone through something like this in the past.
Yes, we have.
Vastly different, but same core. This is the modern day version of violence in video games.
Yeah.
Back in the day, back when we were kids, oh my God, GTA, they're killing people and stealing cars. We're going to have murderers and crooks running amok. Did we get a ton of murderers and crooks?
No.
Because of that game? No. It was just a video game that we played. This is the modern version of that. This is the new age. We've dealt with violence in video games. We can't change it.
Gotta find something else to pick on with it, right?
We're going to attack loot boxes now because loot boxes are the common enemy.
They're gambling.
They're the common enemy.
They're teaching our kids to gamble.
Basically. But that's how I see it. This is the new age violence against video games.
I got a perfect counter argument with this then. You know what? Haunted Trails.
Okay.
I would... is an example of childhood gambling.
Okay.
Because I would go in there. Even now I do that. If I end up going in there.
Or even like Chuck E. Cheese.
Chuck E. Cheese, Haunted Trails, and even now
anywhere with an arcade.
Dave and Buster's for adults now.
Yeah. Or Hollywood Park.
Yeah.
Anywhere with arcade games that give out tickets.
Yes. But there's a chance in a lot of those games you don't get tickets back.
Or you get like one ticket.
You get one ticket. Yeah, you're getting something, but is it really something? You can't buy anything for one ticket.
Especially the things you want are like 1,500 tickets.
Exactly. But that's the thing is I'd go in there. My parents would give me a lot amount of coins because they like buy the food and they give my sister and I split it and then we spend it. Well, hey, I have an extra $10. Let me go to the machine and get some more. I have another extra $10 and I keep like putting my money in until, hey, we're going now.
Or you get to the part where it's like
$30.
Hey, Johnny, let's play this game. No, can't play that game. Doesn't give tickets.
Yeah, no, I was actually learning what games I could win a lot of tickets at, or what games I was good at winning a lot of tickets at. It's like, and I just hit those machines.
You know, it's the perfect...
But it's gambling.
You know, it's the perfect arcade game, which is just modified gambling. The dome one, where the light just goes around in a circle.
Oh, that one.
And you've got to basically, bam, hit it. My friend John, growing up, which is funny that his name is John, your name was John. Not you, though.
Yeah, I know.
He was really good at it. Could hit it like 5 times. If he did it 5 times, 3 of them would have been right on the button.
Wow.
That's how good he was with it. And the 2 that were off would have been like 1 to the side. So he would just sit there and boom. Boom. And just rack up ticket after ticket after ticket after ticket.
There's 2 that I got really good at Haunted Trails. There was one, had the little ski slope and you put the coin in. Yeah. And there's this little spinning dial, but the really thin one is the 100 or some
the jackpot.
1,000, the jackpot. If I wasn't on that,
you were on the next.
I was the one next over, or I was on one of the one. I sometimes I'd throw it down and I'd get one of the higher end ones.
Yeah.
And I was making a lot of coin or a lot of ticket on that. The other one is almost set up basically set up like a slot machine in a sense.
Okay.
You put the coin in there, it goes down, and there's these arms that push everything forward.
Yes.
And you had to just hit it, because if you didn't time it right...
Because then they push the tokens over.
They push the rest of the tokens forward. But if you didn't time it right, it just sat on top of the rest of the tokens.
Yeah.
It's just like the spinning. You hit it and it stops in the right spot.
Those would be more gambling towards loot boxes. Loot boxes, I'm not going to... The only reason why is you don't have to spend money on loot boxes too.
Exactly.
You don't have to. They give you something, even though the items might be useless or unwanted. You still are getting something even if you paid money for it. Now, the argument is, did I get what I paid for? No. That's the point of loot boxes and why I say they are mystery grab bags. They are the modern day mystery grab bags in gaming. That's what they are.
Exactly.
Do you have any final thoughts on loot boxes?
No, I completely agree. It's less of, like you said, it's less of gambling and more of a grab bag because you're getting something no matter what. Well,
this is where I want you guys to come in. Let us know what you guys think down below in the comment section. What do you think about loot boxes? Are they gambling? Are they predatory behavior? Do you agree with Democratic Representative Chris Lee from Hawaii? Let us know what you guys think in the comments down below.